Hey everyone, you're watching Otaku Movie Anatomy. We're hopping into cars and starting a fighting fantasy boy band with Brotherhood Final Fantasy 15. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Otaku Movie Anatomy.
Shit, that is epic.
Wait,
was this music in the anime?
It's from the OST.
Oh, this is not from the anime, but the anime music is pretty.
Alright guys,
intense.
thanks for watching Otaku Movie Anatomy, and we are back from Comic-Con. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment on iTunes, and hit that thumbs up on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter at The Popcorn Talk. And I am your host, Yume. You can find me everywhere online at Yume Ninja, and we are...
Oh, shit. I'm another person who is here today. I'm Michelle. I'm Chubby Bunny. Forgot my name again. You can find me everywhere on the internet. Oh shit, rave time. I am Chubby Bunny, and today we are joined by special guesto, Alquin Gersh. Alquin Gersh is how you say his name.
Alquin Gersh.
Yeah, if you do not have a strange
Sephiroth
accent.
in the flesh.
Alquin Gershusan.
Yeah.
Alright, let's get started. This short series...
Wait, hold on. Why is Alquin here? Let's talk about this for a second. We just brought some bro on.
Yeah, we just brought
some
this
random
guy.
guy.
Some random guy showed up on our show.
So Alquin is very well versed in the world of Final Fantasy.
We brought Lord Sephiroth himself, who that's you.
to talk to you guys
I've dedicated my life
about
to it.
the epitome of a Final Fantasy boy band game show.
Show that is also a game
Yeah.
is what we're trying to get at here.
It's a prequel.
The anime?
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
A prequel
Yeah.
to
Yes.
the game. So
Well, technically,
they're like backstories.
Technically, it
There's
happens-
The demo. They put out the demo. It was also the same thing. The episode Dusuke.
oh
Did you see that? There was a demo for it. It's the
I
same
thought
thing.
I thought the game's actually starting with like it'll start with the fall of the thing, and then they're on the road. So it's kind of in between
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
opening.
it's
Yeah.
kind of
And
in
the-
between.
yeah.
I think you're right.
All right.
All right.
Anyway.
Anyways, so Brotherhood, Final Fantasy 15, as it is called, is a short form animated series that is on Crunchyroll, streaming right now up to
And-
episode 3.
And the official Final Fantasy 15 Brotherhood channel they made for
Yes.
it, which is great, by the way. The comments are amazing on YouTube.
Yes.
We'll go over that later.
So the plot, I ripped this directly from the Square Enix site. En route to wed his fiancée, Lunafreya Nox Fleuret, on
That's
a
a
road
name.
trip with his best friends, Prince Noctis is advised by news reports that his homeland has been invaded and taken over under the false pretense of peace treaty, and he
Literally first world problems.
yeah,
is what it
and
is.
that his loved one and his father wow, this is terrible. Okay, I just read what Square Enix wrote because that's how
You
they
have to read
released
it
it.
in their voice,
Squeenix.
though.
Says that, and that he, comma, his loved one and his father has been slain at the hands of the enemy, but the princess is not slain. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, yeah, the grammar is completely
I'm
incorrect.
gonna I'm gonna be a grammar Nazi about this.
Jesus, they just tell us that King Regis
Right?
is dead?
Yeah, this
That
is
happens
from
at
the
the beginning of the
Square.
game. That's
yeah.
what. That's when the bad
it's in the
guys.
beginning of the
because
game.
he's Sean Bean.
Niflheim or whatever
so,
that comes
Yeah.
yeah, poor
Yeah.
Sean Bean.
So,
Yeah.
to gather the strength needed to uncover the truth and reclaim his homeland, Noctis and his loyal companions must overcome a series of challenges in a spectacular open world that is filled with larger-than-life creatures, amazing wonders, diverse cultures, and treacherous foes.
And
Jesus.
2 women.
Yes, and 2
Probably.
chicks.
No, there's a third one. So there's
third one.
there's the Princess Chicky. They're gonna go find
Lunafreya.
Lunafreya. There's Sid, and then also Ding
Yeah,
Dong's
Sid is a
sister.
girl this time.
In a sort of risque outfit.
Oh, there's Sid and
Gladios, Gladios' sister.
No, and then they also have
Iris.
the hot goth chick from the anime. Remember the chick with the
Oh.
black outfit? And we were
Yeah.
like, ooh, I like
We're
her.
like, ooh.
in the anime.
I hope she's in the game.
In the episode, in Prompto's episode, where
Yeah.
the dog comes back and then she goes outside and there's a chick wearing all black that follows
Oh
her.
yeah, that's
And I was
right.
like, what's her name? I like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I saw there's a girl. I thought that was Iris actually. I thought it was Iris just turned evil when she grew up, but there's a different person. It's
Yeah.
two dark haired
there's
girls. One's evil. One's
4 women.
There's 4 women.
4 women.
So yay, good job,
Yeah.
Squeenix.
So we'll go straight into characters and character design.
Yes.
So these guys,
I'm noticing something in common with the design of these characters.
Yes.
It seems that they share.
Some characteristics.
Probably they share at least a barber.
yes, they share a stylist. So
They all look like hosts. They look
They
like
do.
Host Club.
they all look
They
like
look like
hosts.
they were all designed in like 2005. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're
But
of an era.
And this will probably come up more when we talk about the Prompto episode,
Yeah.
but I feel like, Tetsuya Nomura himself looks like one of those characters he's designed now at this point.
Yes.
You know?
He's just kind of crafted himself. Oh,
Yeah, he's
Tetsuya
got
Nomura.
the accessories and the suits, and his hair is like that. His hair looks like it's Cloud-esque
Yes.
or
So,
some people like
I
that
know,
style.
I know.
main
So
character,
Yes.
Prince Noctis Lucis Caelum.
But they call him Nocto.
Nocto.
Nocto. I wonder how we get it in
He
English.
he is edgelord extraordinaire.
Explain what an edgelord is for uneducated viewers.
Yes, explain to us, Alvin, what an edgelord is.
Alvin, tell me.
I don't know remember what the exact Urban Dictionary definition of it
Someone
is.
look it up.
But I mean, it's like when those guys have like a replica katana and like a fedora and a trench coat, and it's this very prescriptive kind of identity of like, once I get these accessories, I'm gonna be a badass. Like they just think that once you get the gear, that you then you're somehow transformed in
You
this
become
kind of like
this most amazing badass.
Yeah.
yeah, they like
By dressing in a
they
way.
like Shadow the Hedgehog and
Like they have to like the things that are most like evil or anti-establishment.
like Dante from Devil May Cry is another like total
Edgelord.
edgelord character.
Edgelord. Okay.
Yeah,
So who are you calling edgelord over here?
Noctis, Prince Noctis.
the main dude.
And
Nocto.
he is also Mega Imo-kun, and his character design is basically Sasuke 2.0.
And it has been noticed not just by us and people who like
The
animes,
entire
but
fandom.
the entire internet has been like, why is Sasuke in Final Fantasy?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, I have
We have a
theory.
comparison photo.
Yeah.
The hair is so
It
similar.
isn't so exact.
They
That
just
boy looked
they
good.
add one pointy bang. I'm gonna
not
call it
hating on
one
Sasuke.
bang to make it look like Sasuke
People
could.
Paid good money to get their hair to look like that.
It's that gray hair too. I mean, like
Yeah.
His hair was lighter before in the first when they
Yeah.
were first developing the
Yeah.
game. They darkened it a certain amount.
To make him look more like Sasuke.
Well, my theory is the time when they were first making this game and designing the characters was like Final Fantasy versus 13, right?
And that was 2000, a long time ago.
That was
yeah.
at Sasuke's peak
Oh
popularity,
my god, you're
right?
right.
He's right.
Yeah.
Shippuden Sasuke's.
All anime
peak
characters look like
popularity.
that because they wanted them. They all edgelords all had to look like
That was
Sasuke.
that season. That was the edgelord look for that season.
Sasuke is one of these edgelords. So moving on, there's Gladiolus. How do you say the last name?
Amiti, is it Italian or is it?
I think they're trying to make him sound kind of fancy and European.
Is it Amicitia? Or
Amicitia.
Amicitia?
Amicitia, maybe?
I haven't heard the katakana version. of his
Amicitia?
name.
Yeah.
But these are the most pretentious names. He is the eldest son of a noble family. He helps train, aka kick, knocks ass,
Yeah, he's the third episode.
and he is the older
Background.
brother of Iris.
Go ahead.
Yes. yes.
Then there is Ignis Scientia,
Like science with the
Yeah.
cha at the end.
who wears
That's
the
what he's
glasses.
He's a McGunny.
He's the Megane-kun.
He's the Megane-kun.
Megane means glasses for the uninformed.
And also, because he's the Megane-kun, he is the smart one that is a tactician.
And he's always
we
like,
we haven't seen his background episode.
Yeah,
yet.
his- I
It's
think
only
his
up to-
probably the next one. I
Yeah.
This is
know.
the next one, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Episode 4.
6 episodes total, and
Oh,
they're
okay.
only up to 3. I
Yes.
had to really like.
We're gonna
research.
talk about 1 to 3. We won't fake
Yes.
spoil the rest of them. We don't know
I'm
what
not gonna
about.
spoil it. And then lastly, there's Prompto Argentum.
Prompto is the besto. I love him.
He was pretty annoying when like the first episode came out. I found
Yes.
him really annoying.
Yes.
And then his episode, I was like, wow. So he is
Because you thought he was like a Shota, like archetype.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Sort of
But his
happy,
backstory
positive
was
boy, right?
great.
yeah.
His backstory
So
was great.
he's a childhood friend of Noctis who is cheerful, loves cuddly animals, and used to be chubby.
That's a very important
Yeah.
character arc that he
Super
goes through.
important for his
Yeah.
Episode 3.
We should
yeah.
talk about that. You liked that a lot, right? You liked
What, him being chubby?
No, his journey.
His journey.
He had a good arc. Shouldn't we go in order or no?
Yes,
All
let's go in order.
Let's go in order because
We'll
it goes
talk
from
about
kind of weird to
problematic
good.
Prompto.
Yes.
Problematic.
Yeah.
So the
Something I
first,
like about that
the
episode.
first episode is basically them driving around their car, which kind of looks like them driving through like Utah.
Yeah, everything looks like. Well, I heard that they sent the team several times to go out to Arizona. A
Yeah.
lot of Route 66 stuff to
Yeah,
see
it
Americana.
definitely looks like Americana Route 66.
Yeah, that was by design. They talked about this a lot in their Final Fantasy 15 Uncovered event they held in Los Angeles in
Yeah.
how long ago was that? Like 3-4 months ago?
Yeah, it was earlier this year.
God, that was so fun. I went. Anyway, so the first episode is really like, these are all the sad things that are happening, and look how emo Noctis can be, and like it's a little off-putting. Like I saw the first episode and I was
Yeah.
like,
There are a lot
they-
more like tropes. in
they-
that one. It's more
they-
typical
they're setting
anime
up stuff.
Yeah, they set it up. They're driving. They stop at a diner, and at this point is where they learn that Noctis's father has been killed and his fiance
Does
has
he
been
hear that he's been? I think they think his father's been captured. I don't think they know he's been killed yet.
Yeah,
because it's on the news.
They know that Niflheim is invading.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows.
Because that's in a different movie called Kingsglaive. We'll talk about later.
Yes.
But and they're in the diner and
They're
then
in the
they see-
diner.
What is that? Like a
It's like
spaceship?
and though they see the news and then they don't finish their burgers and then they go
Shame.
on a trip
Yeah.
and then suddenly the big ship comes with all the metal Nazis.
Oh, they're basically metal Nazis.
They're metal Nazis.
They're robots
Yeah.
who wear like trench coats and that have like kind of like a
Yeah.
50s
Like a
robot
mask.
face.
Yeah, it's
they have
very
a
like
weird, like,
diesel
Metropolis.
punk, like Metropolis looking.
Yeah, I like them though. And then they showed up though. I was like, are these guys robots? They're totally robots. That way you can
They're
kick their ass
robots.
with
Yeah,
impunity.
yeah.
And there's no blood or no gore or anything, but you can do fancy combat moves to them.
Yeah, and two-
Guilt free.
Two of the other things they hit on in that episode are at the beginning there's a reveal of Noctis as a child laying next to a bleeding woman who is probably his mother, who has been killed by a 7-armed or 8-armed spider lady kind of thing.
That's a Merilith, I think. But I think in the games, those are Lamia. That's what that thing is called.
Alquin knows what the names of the thing is,
Yes.
so that's good.
Yeah.
And then she comes back at the end of this episode. She's on that ship with the metal Nazis, which we're going to call them now, because we know what they're really called.
Yeah, and they like cut away from that.
And then
we
he's
don't know what's
they
going
cut
on.
away from that, and then they go, "Oh shit, episode 2 better be way more lighthearted than this. Let's not address this anymore."
Yeah, it
there's a
doesn't
big
make
break.
any sense.
I think the first episode, and then this
They're
is not based on.
They'll probably go back and wrap it up at the end.
I feel
right?
like they have to,
Because they've shown everybody's
there's
individual story.
there's 6 episodes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time left, but I feel like there was a really long break between episode 1 and 2. It was like 3 months. Like a lot of time passed. People were like, where the hell is episode 2? They kind of thought it was gonna be like every month. And then 2 and 3 came out like one after the other because
Yeah.
I think they just fixed all those problems about it. Like because the biggest problem everyone's having with Noctis is that he seems like, oh, we can see what he looks like and how he's being like, oh, I'm so cool. Like nobody
Yeah.
likes a character like that.
He was basically Sasuke.
Yeah,
Just
he
so
was
you know where it
completely
is.
unlikable. Everybody was very one-dimensional, and then now they have the episodes 2 and 3 started showing. So 2 is Prompto's episode, and 3 is Gladius's episode.
Yeah, they show him kind of like in Prompto's episode, kind of like becoming friends with him, and then in Gladio's episode, like being kind of like a humble prince.
Yeah,
and
so they show
learning.
like a lot of different aspects to his character, and even in the YouTube comment section, you can tell people are like, "Oh, I really like him now." And if you do comments say something good about something, you know it's
Yeah.
working.
It's working.
Yeah.
So it was really.
Oh, yeah.
So first episode was like, okay, fine, and the fighting was cool looking, but it's still
yeah.
animated, so it doesn't look as cool as the CG is gonna look at
Yeah,
all.
it's not. I feel like
The
when they
animation
were,
was really good quality.
yeah, and the animation was good, but like I feel like the fighting in the animation, like in the anime, you could tell that they were trying to translate it from the game.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like it would look in the game. I feel like the game is gonna be spectacular. The animation in the anime, I was like, see, just randomly popping up like weapons, and it didn't make very much sense. Like if you don't play
Yeah.
Final Fantasy, it wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah, that's supposed to be his big ability, which I think is inherited from
Yeah, they show his father using
royal
it.
Yeah.
bloodline or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's the usual kind of like Gilgamesh
Yeah.
in Fate,
Yeah.
Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, where he's kind of like just calling.
A bunch
Weapons.
of
So-
weapons.
And when he attacks, he manifests like a different weapon all the
Every
time.
time.
And that's probably a mechanic in the game you do too, where you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to use this sort of attack against this guy, so here's a halberd or whatever,
Yeah.
or a battle
I always
axe
thought
or
it was
something.
is it called a halberd? I mean, I do
I
not.
think so.
I do not know how to say words that are spelled in English.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Halberd.
Hal-
Halberd?
I always thought it was like a halberd, but I guess flip the letters. A halberd, like that
It's a
makes
stick with a loaf of bread,
bread on the end. Very effective
used when
against
you want to
me.
feed your enemy at a distance.
So episode 1, blur. Episode 2,
Episode 2.
Talk about Prompto's
Yeah.
episode.
Prompto's
Like, right,
episode.
get to
let's
Prompto.
get to it.
Yeah. So they just
Great.
kind of start off with Prompto. He's like this chubby kid with a digital camera from like the early 2000s, and he's just
Well, when you
just-
first see him in the
yeah.
episode, though, he's not. He looks like a sort of young, fashionable
Yeah.
guy.
And then they skip to his childhood, and he's just a little chubby kid with like a little camera, and he's going through it, and it's just pictures of kitties and
Dogs,
puppies. It's
yeah.
so cute.
And
But
of
he's
course,
by
his
himself.
parents
Yeah.
are gone because of anime,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, and the setting. So this
so
one,
he's fast food at home
Yeah.
alone every
yeah,
night.
this is quite a divergence from everything else we've seen so far in not only the episode 1, but also in the rest of all the filming of the game I've seen, or the actual gameplay. It's modern day, like right now
Yes.
Japan is what it looks like. It's
Oh.
him
Yeah.
going to a grade school that looks exactly like a modern grade school with like desks and chairs and a teacher and
No visible like
Yeah.
futuristic
yeah,
stuff.
everything looks at date right now,
Yeah.
and which I guess hopefully 10 years from now looks like Final Fantasy. Woo!
I know,
in
we
the
have
real
like
world.
flying Lincoln Town cars
Yeah.
And then Middle Nazis.
and Art Deco mechs.
But
But
what was it? Oh, so then he doesn't have any friends.
yeah.
But then he finds a dog that's injured, heals him. The dog goes back to its owner.
Which happens to be the princess.
Nufreya.
Helping animals is visual shorthand
Yeah.
for you are protagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are a
Good
good
dude.
person.
Yeah, you are gonna be a badass one day.
And then
Even when you intellectually understand it, it still works.
Yeah.
I liked him more. When they showed him
Once-
doing animal
yeah.
stuff, I'm like, I like this guy.
Did you see this
He
little
likes
puppy
animals.
with like he's like got a little injury and he's like limping along and he goes, "Oh, you're injured." He puts like a little handkerchief on him. He takes him home and bathes him. And I was like, "Oh my god!"
And he
he's
like
so
keeps him in
cute.
his house and
Some
goes to
Sarah
school,
McLachlan
but then
music
yeah,
would be
then like
playing in the
runs back
background.
to his house after school because he's really worried about the dog, and it's really goddamn heartwarming.
It's cute.
So Luna Freya finds, of course, the handkerchief wrapped around the dog's leg has Prompto's
Prompto's
name
name
on
on
it. So like her maid in waiting or whatever finds
Yeah.
out where he lives and sends him a letter that says like, "Hey, I'm Luna Freya, and I sent this dog to go visit Prince Noctis, and I'm glad
It's
you're
one
his
of
friend."
two dogs. It's a light and a dark
Yeah,
dog.
which I hope comes back. They come
Yeah,
back.
I think
please.
that's totally gonna be
Please
important.
be in the game.
Yes, please be dire wolves in the
Well,
game.
I think it also
please.
has to do with like they were supposed to be married at some point, right? Noct and Luna
They
Freya.
were
So he's
So
betrothed.
his name is Night and she's Moon. So I think
Yes.
there's a sort of
Yes.
Shit!
Noctis and
Oh,
Luna.
I just got that.
there have also been rumors that this is completely unsubstantiated, but people think that the main bad guy at the end is gonna she might be the last boss. Like maybe the story is about like how they could have been married or whatever, but like just.
Ugh. I hate when it boils down to a yucky love story if someone's angry about it. But
I think it's supposed to be some sort of weird tragic
Oh.
sort of thing.
oh, people are gonna die for sure.
People are gonna be so mad. Like, remember Final Fantasy X? People were so mad.
So mad, so mad.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, Tidus is a dream. And then you're just like, what?
Yeah.
If you play both versions of Final Fantasy X-2 with the new game plus,
Ugh, who played that even? Just him.
This is
Then
guy.
Tidus
Fucking
is
loves
real, okay?
Final Fantasy X too.
I didn't. And well, actually, you two probably like Final Fantasy X more than I do.
I like the designs, but I couldn't get through it.
I quit when I found out Tidus was a dream. Someone told me, and I was like, I'm done. I just stopped playing.
It's actually Tidus.
Tidus.
Tidus?
It's Tidus.
Of an age, guys.
Which I discovered many years after I had been excited about that game. I thought it was
Back
pretty
when
funny.
I could read like katakana real well and real quickly, I realized it was Tidus real quick because I used to call him Titus too.
Just,
Tidus makes sense, but
I think there's a long
yeah.
history of Final Fantasy names being completely misspoken by everybody, like 50-50. It's like,
Yeah.
is it Cecil or Cecil? Cecil or Cecil? Which one is it,
Eris
guys?
or Aerith?
Yeah, no one knows.
Yeah.
No one knows. Okay.
To this day.
But back to episode 2. So anyway, Prompto gets this letter from Luna Freya, and it's like, 'cause she assumes he's his Noctis' friend, and he's like, oh, okay, she's counting on me to be his friend, or like for some
Yeah.
reason, it makes no sense.
It made no sense. He's like, I got this letter from the princess, and she wants me to become Noctis' friend.
But it
And
was
I was
sweet.
like, how did you get that from this letter that just thanked you for saving the dog?
But it does keep the plot going, and he
Yes.
decides that he bumps into him, and he kind of calls him. Noctis helps him up, and he's kind of like, oh my, like you're kind of
You're
heavy.
heavy.
And he kind of really takes it to heart. And then the story from here
And he
kind of
doesn't mean it. I don't think Noctis
No.
means it in a malicious
Yeah.
way
He
or
doesn't.
whatever.
But then it turns into like an eating disorder problem. Just kidding. He
Yeah.
decides to be fit. He decides I need to be fit in order to be, able
His
to be his
friend.
friend.
Yeah. Which doesn't make
again,
any
What I
sense.
kind of had a problem with is the idea of like
Yeah.
you are not worthy.
until you are physically fit
But
looking.
I think if you look
Like
at
he even
it,
avoids talking to him and gets all kind of stalkery distant with him.
But if you look at the people around him, like in the beginning when Prompto was like chubby, like people
Yeah.
the kids bump into him and he just kind of like they say sorry and he just kind of ignores them, like he acts like he's not able to talk to anybody and he's kind of unworthy of talking to people. It's more of like, yes, he gets fit, but it's a self-discovery to getting like his own kind
Becoming
of
outgoing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he becomes less introverted and he kind of
it's
gets
it's a really cute montage because basically what happens is he's running and like he's all tired because he's overweight, and then some like jogger goes konnichiwa, and he's like like he wants to say hello back to him, but he's too timid, and then like it shows like as he works out more and more, he can say hello to like strangers, he can talk to his classmates, and then by the time you see him they enter high school for the first day, he runs over to Noctis like, hi, nice to meet you, like I'm Prompto, and then Noctis is really cute. He's like, we've already met, and they're all like chummy already because he knows he's been like waiting to be his friend, which is really cute.
It was so cute. I was
really
like, this
cute.
is so cute.
There was some sweetness. I didn't like the general like I can't meet you while I'm fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what they're trying to
And I
say.
mean,
Yeah.
I think people in Japan have different attitudes about
Yes,
they do.
about
They
that kind of
do.
stuff than we do. I mean, they may not necessarily see the same Instead
I
of
think
weird
I
negatives
think
or-
as a Westerner, you have to take it as like he just didn't have the confidence until he built himself up. Like you can't
Yeah.
look at it as like a fat shaming thing.
Yeah,
You're just gonna
it's more
go
about
down
character building,
Yeah.
and they did do it in a montage. So I mean,
And it obviously worked because here's this character who you didn't care at all
Yeah,
about
I hated
Yeah.
him.
until you found out about his background. And
Yeah.
then
He
you were
loved
like,
dogs.
Episode 1, I was like, wow, this guy's annoying. And then episode 2, I was like, oh man, I
know.
love this
Now
character.
he's my favorite, and he has such a cute, stupid name that means fast. Get it?
Yep.
Get it? Prompto.
Prompto.
All right. I want to read.
his
some
name is actually one of the ones that is the least of a mess.
offensive. Yeah, like it makes sense. It's
Yeah.
a name. I wonder if they call him Proputo for short. Just some really amazing comments on
Don't they give him
YouTube.
some
I have to
funny
read.
nickname at some point?
I don't know.
I don't know, Alvin.
I haven't. I know. One Woozification 1 on YouTube when he saw. I think he saw episode 1 and was like, all right, saw episode 2, and he wrote in all caps, fucking put on your seatbelts, because those bitches are not riding seatbelts.
They're
And then
not.
when Prompto is driving, when he sees the injured dog, he veers off and they all fly. They're in a convertible, first of all.
Yeah,
So
first
they
of
should have
all.
all flown out of the car and died.
Yes.
But they didn't. They all just kind of, fell
Yeah.
to the side. And then because of that, someone else commented, okay, Prompto getting in shape was impressive and all, but people don't even seem to realize the best part of this episode. Nocto slept through a freaking car crash, my hero.
It's true. He slept through that car crash.
Sleeps through the whole episode.
Because, like, I mean, it wasn't a car crash, but he basically, like, kind of, like, veers off into the side of the road and, like, stops abruptly and Noctis just slept through it.
Yeah, and then one last comment someone made.
But wasn't he like drained at that point from using a lot of his powers? Wasn't that what it was?
They don't. I can't tell where.
really,
I can't tell
like-
where in the timeline it's happening.
Yeah.
Like, did it happen
Yeah.
before episode 1 or after? Like, they don't.
Yeah,
talk
it's
clear.
very messy
He was
at
out.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just, like, asleep.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like, did that happen after they fought the weird snake lady
maybe.
that had been dropped out of the cargo
But we don't know.
container?
Yeah,
We don't know because
Yeah.
they never address it.
And the last comment I got that was really, the YouTube video got was, I want to play as Fat Prompto in PlayStation VR.
Oh my god, that'd be
So-
amazing.
Square Enix, get to it.
I know.
That could be like a whole like
What do you-
workout fit game you could do.
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you do squats?
You just do
Squats like Cloud.
You do squats, and then at the if you get a good ending, you can be Noctis' friend. Shit, Square Enix, get on
Oh
it.
man. Oh man.
All right.
All right. And then the third episode was
3.
the one about Gladios.
So wait, I noticed that his English name and his Japanese, how they're saying it, are totally different.
Yeah.
What do they call him
In Japanese, they say Gladios.
So yeah, it's Gladiolus.
But it's Gladiolus and,
Yeah.
and spelled in English letters, Romanized letters.
And it doesn't help that most of the time he's referred to in his episode. It's like Gladi-kun.
Gladi.
Yeah.
I think she's just calling him Oni-chan, actually. Did she say
Yeah.
Gladi? I can't
No,
remember.
one
or
point
like
Yes.
when they
Some
talk to
people just
him,
call him Gladi.
when they talk to him in the car, they just call him Gladios. That's all they say.
Gladios.
Gladio or Gladio.
Gladio.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's like Gladiolus.
But I mean, it's like Noctis. They don't say Noctis. They say Nocto. Like,
Nocto,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's like, but
And it's just translated
why
as
are you?
Noct.
Why do you have his name romanized a completely different way?
Because
Fantasy's always
mouth
had-
flaps, probably.
Well, they've always had this. They've been so consistent in how they use like European languages in a weird way. So you get stuff like Fabula Nova Crystallis or like was it Dissidia or all the weird subtitles they have for their games, and it's just like it's not supposed to make idiomatic sense. It
Right.
it just makes Final Fantasy sense.
Yeah.
Like
Final Fantasy language. Get on it.
Yeah, well, they've been doing it for so long with such high production value that it's kind of assumed its own kind of weight, and
Thing,
people are like,
yeah.
"Yeah, that makes sense because it's a Final Fantasy game
It's
or
because
whatever."
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's the same game that has little cat teddy bear postman and,
Yeah,
and
that's
riding
true.
chickens and
Gotta see the
Yeah.
Moogles, guys. I'm waiting for the Moogle episode.
Yeah.
But episode 3 is
Episode 3, yeah.
Gladios and his little sister Iris, Irisu,
Edis, yeah.
yeah.
or Iris spelled in
And they
English.
show that Gladio does not have a very high opinion of.
He has a very poor opinion of the
spoiled
prince.
Noctis.
Because we can assume at this point, Noctis maybe like 12 or something.
Yeah, he's like middle school age.
And then Gladios kun is probably 22, maybe. I can't tell how
I
much
can't
older he's
tell-
supposed
yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that
Someone
he's
get the
like
guidebook.
either late teens or early 20s.
Yeah.
Is it like that thing in anime where if you're a third year, you look like you're 30, and the first years in high school look like they're like 11 or something?
Yes. You're talking about Yobetta?
I'm talking about every anime.
Yeah,
Yobetta.
the third years
If you're
always
third year,
look
you're
like
an
full-grown men.
Yeah. And then if you're in your late 20s or something, you're Oji-san.
You're an old grandpa.
Yeah.
So someone mentioned that on YouTube that it does seem that pets are causing a lot of trouble in this anime.
Yeah, because in this episode, Iris decides that she wants to go visit this spoiled prince that her brother is talking about. And while she's waiting for the prince, she sees a cat in the garden and decides to go chasing after this cat.
Yeah, Arya Stark style.
Yep.
Arya Stark style. And then
Yes.
Noctis sees her chasing the cat and chases her in turn. It turns into a whole, like, the prince is missing thing. Then, oh, Iris is missing. And then, oh, well, it's raining and no, I'm lost. And she's upset. And then Noctis, like, finds her and brings her back and takes the blame, you know.
Yeah, that's the important part, is that he basically doesn't rat her out.
Yeah.
He actively takes the fall. It's not even that they're misunderstanding. He jumps in and is just like, no, it was all because of me.
And so then his dad is basically like, you're a royalty. You should know better than to just go wandering out by yourself. And I'm disappointed in you. And then Iris later confesses to her brother, Gladio, and is like, it was me. He covered for me. And then Gladio's like, oh, maybe he's not such a spoiled prince after all.
Yeah.
I like that dude.
It was cute because then after that he has a kind of a quick heart-to-heart with Gladius has a quick heart-to-heart with Noctis about their, with their training and stuff, like how to become a better king. And then they fast forward to present day where Gladius has really let himself go. His hair is super crazy.
He's got like a crazy scar.
He went from being like, I don't know, 9 years older than Noctis to being like 30 years older than Noctis because he looks like he's like 50 and like
He has no
grizzled.
shirt. The better to show off his awesome chest tattoos.
Fuck shirts.
And then he has a vest. He has like
He has
a
a
Daryl
vest
Dixon kind of
that
vest.
like has a necklace that keeps it together.
He looks like one of the characters from that old.
See the Waka character?
Do you-
Yes, he's kind of like the Waka character.
Do you remember a game called the Bouncer?
Yes, I do.
It was another Tetsuya Nomura designed
And
roaming
looks
beat 'em up,
exactly like
and he looks like a character from that.
Yeah.
The total like they kind of half like they're from like a Yakuza game, but all, like they're kind of hosts. They're kind of like
The hair's like a little bit too
thugs.
fancy. But
Yeah.
they got tattoos.
But like, if you
Yeah.
think about it, like every
Classic
guy
Nomura.
character in this, like if you make Noctis blonde, he's Titus. If you take glasses off Ignis, he's Waka. If you look at fucking Gladio, he's like Oron. Like he's little every
I
single
think
character.
they are operating on very like specific tropes.
It's tropes.
I wouldn't say Ignis. We haven't seen his episode yet, so we don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a Waka. I think his hair is more of a Zell.
Yes, true. Very true.
But in general, like you're talking about when they show them first driving around in the car and all that. First time I saw that, I was like, this is like Final Fantasy VIII when you get the car and you're like driving around with your
You
buddies.
do get a car in 8, but it's not the whole goddamn game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of the
I
stuff
wonder if it's
between,
gonna be-
I mean, 13 has the same thing too, where they're choosing how much of the sort of modern day and how much of the sort of
Yeah.
fantasy.
But in this one, they went full hog.
Yeah,
to one
I read
side.
about the development of this, and Tetsuya Nomura was very adamant about producing a like buddy road trip kind of game, and that is exactly what this is.
Let me give you a quote from the internet. This is a really good one. Okay, thank you. I didn't write down which YouTube user this was. I said this. It said, man, these episodes are like the broest of bro things. This should just be called Final Bro Fantasy Bro 15, a tale of epic journey where 4 bros go on the broest journey to fight for the ultimate broness crown against the haters that are determined to break up their broness to help one bro get married / late.
Yep,
Yes!
that is pretty much.
And that
is
was
like-
an amazing quote.
This is like, God, what was that movie? The bachelor party thing? God.
the bachelor.
the Hangover?
Hangover. It's like Hangover Final Fantasy.
But with like swords.
Yeah.
Swords.
With some magic and swords and some technology.
Yeah, which conceptually doesn't sound very interesting to me at all. But then
But-
you think about how they execute it. It could be
It could
something
be,
better.
you know what?
Yeah.
Like I think everybody said it's ridiculous. It looks ridiculous, and I fully expect it to be ridiculous, but amazingly ridiculous.
Like the anime is really making me take a shine to it, and
Yeah.
like I think like I went to the press event, the unveiling of everything that's gonna happen in the game, and I was kind of like, this seems good, maybe I'll if I have a PlayStation 4 by then, which I don't know right now. Please send me one somewhere on the internet, and I'll give you my email address. Anyway. And I was like, I don't know, maybe. And then this anime really was kind of like, it made me care about the characters, and it was kind of a tipping point. And then I saw the Kingsglaive trailer. Holy shit, guys. We're going to
Yes.
hella cover that movie when it
Yes.
comes out.
They're doing a much better job of cross-media stuff,
Yes.
which they've been
That's all
trying to
they're
do.
doing, yeah,
They've been
yeah.
trying to do that for a long
Yes.
time.
So let's talk about the memes, because I feel like this video game looked freaking ridiculous. until the memes. So a lot of people were one Photoshop of them in the car came out, and then I guess somebody from Square Enix was like, I like that, and encouraged the Japanese fandom to do it. So then it just became this like ultimate meme off of like, what could you Photoshop them looking at? And then in one that I found particularly was just an epic description of like the broiest photo of them. And like, they look like a band.
That's almost like a Scene Kid level thing.
Yeah,
I mean, look
it's
how
like
you know.
emo kids. It's like,
great.
Yeah.
It's all the things. It's together.
I can't even put my finger on it. It's just so ridiculously amazing.
Now, are those official DLC outfits that you can
No,
unlock?
I think
Is that-
somebody
can I
literally
get those?
like
Can I
photoshopped.
get those?
Somebody literally photoshopped
Neon
like the
tiger
Hawaiian
stunner
shirt on
shades.
Gladio and like the rainbow shades
Oh,
on them
God.
all.
Is he wearing heart?
Is he holding a bunch of money
Sunglasses?
in that one?
Yes, he's holding. Prompto's holding like a
Yeah.
bunch of like dollar bills. It's so funny.
Oh, Christ. Oh, they're all
weird.
holding those.
It's like early 2000s fashion.
I feel like we know a guy that looks like
It
fake
looks
Noctis.
like blood on the dance floor. Remember
Dude,
that
huh?
shitty man?
Stop.
It looks terrible.
Okay, so this is great. And I think there was also another, I think they released a phone sticker app so you could like take a photo and
Yeah.
like put that. So you can put like the car in front of you and they can also
Yeah.
have the guys going,
Yeah.
like pointing at something, like
Yeah.
someone's taking a picture
Yeah.
of them. And if you look on Square Enix's Twitter, there's a bunch of it. It's so funny.
Yeah, they really
good.
encourage, like they understood the fandom and really
Like, it's
encouraged
ridiculous,
people
and they
to
know
be
it's ridiculous.
ridiculous with it, which I think was such a smart move.
They had some sort of Cho Aniki sort of homoerotic looking ones too as part of that. They were pretty funny.
What?
Alquin knows too much about this.
Too much.
Too much knowledge. Oh, man.
Oh man, but yeah, let's talk about Kingsglaive a bit.
Kingsglaive.
Kingsglaive.
Okay, so they just released the U.S. voice acted trailer for this maybe 3 days ago. The regular trailer has been out for a while. That shows kind of generally what's happening. But the best part about the English language version is going to be the voice actors.
Yeah,
We
they're
got
very good.
someone at Square Enix loves them some Game of Thrones.
Yes, they do.
So as Luna Freya, a grown-up version of Luna Freya, we have Lena Headey, also known as Cersei from Game of Thrones. And it's
Also known as who is she in Judge Dredd? Mama.
Could
or
you
whatever?
not with Judge Dredd right now? So she's in Judge Dredd. Let's not talk about that. We have Sean Bean as the King Regis, and as you mentioned, he definitely dies.
He
so.
dies. John Bean, King dies.
Yeah, Sean Bean. Sorry, dude. And then we have Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad. He's the guy who's not the main character in Breaking Bad. If you know who that is. As Nick.
Jesse Pinkman?
Yeah.
I didn't watch Breaking Bad. Okay. I'm the one person in the whole world who hasn't watched it. I know it's about drugs and meths. But he plays Nyx, who is kind of like the lead Kingsglaive warrior. Of the Kingsglaive to save the crystal from the people
They're
to
like
do something.
From the
Royal bodyguards
Niflheimians,
/ Secret
yeah.
Service ninja
Correct.
Assassin's Creed
Definitely, the
badasses.
costumes look hella Assassin's Creed-ish.
Yes.
So anyway, there's a lot of build up to that movie is going to take place in a timeline while the anime is happening. So while they're all off, like just figuring out, oh my god, the kingdom's been ransacked, they're like, hey, we're in the middle of the ransack and we have to hide this fucking crystal. Is I guess the whole plot, and it's going to be released in real theaters in the U.S.
Yeah. Select theaters.
Some places, yeah.
Yes, and it's been out and it's out in Japan. Just came out this weekend, I believe. So hopefully we can YouTube some of that later.
Yep.
Hand cams.
Read some reviews.
But yeah,
From
it
reviews.
looks really amazing.
Yeah, it's a CG movie.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it, you should go on YouTube and check it out.
Yeah,
All
I
the
mean,
Final Fantasy things.
I was kind of cynical about this game coming up because it was so long in development and because it just has this kind of a lack of female characters and
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
stuff. I mean,
That was very hard for me.
Final Fantasy 7, 8, 10. Some stuff from 13. So it's not that I dislike this style completely, but it's not my favorite. I'm more of a 14 or 9 or 6, kind of more like Renaissance sort of crystal punk kind of look. But
Well, I mean, let's talk about that. Like, which Final... Like, I know both of you really like Final Fantasy. Which Final Fantasy is your Final Fantasy?
I'm really of the old guard of Final Fantasy when it was still like 8-bit. Not like I liked it before you guys did, but just because it was very high. It was high fantasy up until about 10. Then I feel like there was such a divergence into like modern. It was like technology, and it got too modern for me.
yeah, 7 is really where that started.
Yeah, and I really liked the U.S. Final Fantasy 3 / I know it's 6, guys, settle down. Japanese
I knew this was
version,
gonna come up.
Number 6 is my favorite. I have a lot of really embarrassing stories.
That is the best one. You are correct. in
About
having
how
that as
much
your
I
favorite.
loved it. Yeah, it was kind of the first RPG I really played all the way through. I played 2 I really, really, really liked, but 3 was like on a whole other level of like I could.
When she says 2, you mean 4.
I hate everything right now. But you guys
Did you just nerd check her?
It's not like I don't know. It's just I'm just remembering my youth. So I think I played it when I was around. I want to say I was like around 12 when I got to Final Fantasy 3/6. Thank you. And it really I remember just poring over any material I could about it. I went after I beat the game. I went to the it wasn't called GameStop back then. What was it? EB. Electronics Boutique.
Yeah.
I went to the Electronics Boutique and bought the printed out book guide because I wanted to just read the plot in bed so I could just keep reliving the game over and over.
Reading guide or the pre games.
I would pray that I would dream about it at night. I was such a goddamn nerd about it. I would trace so I had this tracing thing that I did when I was a kid because I didn't really know how to draw really well and I wanted to learn. So I would. You know when you hit start and you get the close-up versions of their face that look more like Amano art, you know?
Oh yeah, they're from a Amano art,
but they're still pixelated. But I would put saran wrap over the TV and trace
so you could see Cecil Coons.
Yeah, and so I could trace it. And then I would
Please
cut
tell
it
me you
out.
still have those.
And I don't think I do. And I would cut it around it and then tape it into a white notebook.
To capture it.
And I just hope my mom's not watching this and be like, oh, is that why she had that weird shit?
I remember being in 10th grade Spanish class, I think, and just being so obsessed with, because in that game in 6 you had to attach these kind of materia and stuff to things to level up your summons.
You mean US 6, right?
Yes. But then I remember trying to work out okay, I've got about these many more points to go until Locke is going to need Shote, but then Bismarck will be available because Terra won't be using him anymore. And it was just in the margins of my textbooks, figuring out in what order people were going to get what espers.
Yeah, God, I remember, but around
special
7,
days.
I was 7. I was huh? Am I supposed to like this? I played a lot through it, and then I don't think I ever finished it because I was just I don't care about this weird pixel.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way the characters looked, and I didn't care for the.
Yeah,
and
I liked that game a lot, but I feel it wasn't.
Was yours favorite 6 too?
Yeah, 6 is probably my favorite.
And I'm one of the few people I feel I openly am I like 7. I fucking love 7.
Yeah. A lot of people love 7.
Yeah.
7 has some great stuff about it.
Yeah.
I
definitely
loved,
wasn't Eris.
I think for me it was the best times with Tetsuya Nomura because it only got worse after that.
I feel like there was greater variety in his character designs, and there were a lot of really good, strong female characters that were cool in that.
And I feel there was a greater variety of characters, and I feel after that, all of his main characters that were dudes were the broiest host type of people he could make.
When you got to 8,
main guy is always
heart.
broody. And then one of his best friends is higher energy. And then there's always an older mentor dude. And you see people like Oron and Ten and that kind of stuff.
They fell into
He's refining a trope.
Yeah, he just got real tropey, and I feel with for me, Sephiroth is one of those ultimate villains. Or he's
we all know that song, guys. Come on.
Moonring Angel, but he's just kind of he's a villain, but he's just so tragic.
He's the anti. Well, he's one of the and they pursued this a lot in later ones. Kuja was like this in 9, and he's one of the sort of anti-villain characters where even though you want him to eventually lose, you want to see him do some badass stuff first because you're he's cool.
Yeah, and then you just completely understand his motivations. Some pretty fucked up shit happened to him.
I'd be mad too if you did that to me.
But then I feel after that 8 was we're all from the same orphanage. We just don't remember.
Oh my god, it got so convoluted. It wasn't about the same things anymore, and I felt it lost the spirit of fantasy. And I was this ain't no Final Fantasy. This is just some final shit that happened.
I put over 200 hours into that game as well, and collected all of the cards.
Oh my god, this guy I dated Final Fantasy 8 made him drop out of college.
Oh my god,
I dated some winners. Michelle.
All right.
But I like 10. Was 10... Wait, 1...
10 was a Nomura one
10
as well.
10 was a Nomura one.
One had Kid with Tail and one had...
That was 9.
That was 9.
Oh, I like 9 then.
I
like 9 a lot also.
9 is not Tetsuya Nomura.
Oh yeah, 9 was it got to that weird roundish style of
They tried to go back to
characters.
make it look more like the original artwork.
It felt more like Tactics around that time, I think.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is, the person from Tactics, the character designer, Akihiro Yoshida, he is basically the other trend. If we're talking about Nomura for the futuristic, kind of more modern-leaning stuff,
then Yoshida
he's the other
is
one.
the fantasy.
So he's the guy from Vagrant Story, from Final Fantasy Tactics. And some of the Final Fantasies that he worked on really have his look. Like 14, the new MMO, it looks a lot like his style. It's sort of Renaissance style. And then he has other ones too that are a lot like that. Like 12 is very much his game. And seeing a lot of the stuff from this new game and from this anime series as well, I feel like 12 was I'm glad 12 was a good influence, because I feel like a lot of people kind of pick on it. They didn't really like it. It was kind of divisive of the community at the time.
I didn't like it.
It was 12 the one with Fran?
Yes, Fran and Balthier.
Because I feel
Ash.
That's shit.
I feel like the character design for 12 was strong, but I could not get into the story.
12, I really liked the story because it seemed more grown up, and all of the voice actors were these English, sort of Shakespearean sounding voice actors. Like, I hate the American voices for like 10 and the more recent games. I wish they sounded like 12. And a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing from 15, especially when they show like, people like Sean Bean or Lena Headey or other people doing these kind of voices in it, I feel like they're going back to that, of getting these people who sound, like Patrick Stewart or whatever, just kind of impressive, and that fits better with that fantasy world for me than like, hi.
I feel like it's funny. It's funny because like we actually meant when 10 got remastered and released for PS3 or 4.
PS4.
And
and PS3.
And
I think.
Alvin was playing through it, and I was like, I have never heard the English voices before. I've
like,
never
you
heard
have
them.
lived.
Because I played a modded Japanese version, and I had never heard it. And then when I heard them, I was like, this is terrible.
And a lot of those
I hate
American
this
voices are
game.
very famous. Like Waka is what's his name?
Jake
the
from
dog.
Adventure Time.
He's
And
a
Bender.
So you can't unhear
Bender,
it
Benny
now when you
Williams.
hear it.
I like it. I went back, and when I was playing it again, I felt like I like it more now that Waka is Jake the dog.
I hated it.
And
I
I
was
always
like,
hated
man.
Waka, but I'm like, I like him a bit better now that he's...
What the hell was his accent supposed to be? Was he like New Zealand mixed with Australian?
I don't know. I felt like it was like a mixture of like Jamaican and
It was like a little bit
Samoan.
really offensive,
It
but
was
like not
it was a
enough to
Hawaiian
be-
accent. John DiMaggio.
Yeah.
John DiMaggio,
John
yeah.
DiMaggio, yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
From-
there it
Thank you,
is.
producer Steven.
Thanks, Steven.
From Futurama and...
But it was a Hawaiian
Adventure Time.
accent that he was trying to do, but it totally
Well, that
sounds
was a
like Jake the
game.
dog.
I mean, 10 in general, he was trying to. It was Nomura was like, well, I want to do something that was like Southeast
Fucking
Asia
10,
or
yeah.
Polynesian, so
Yeah,
fantasy.
very
And you can
Pacific.
see that in this new game, and they dialed it back a lot more. They're like, he's like, because if you tell him like, oh, you can make the costumes yellow, we'll make them all yellow.
It's like we'll throw some nets on the knees.
Oh
and
my god.
He's
Yeah,
like,
and
can this guy have a wallet chain? And be like, only if it's 3 feet long.
That's exactly what happened in the ball pit. I think, or not ball pit, but in the pitching tent. You know what I'm trying to
pitch
say.
room?
Pitch room.
In the boardroom?
I'm just throwing together all the wrong words today. But like, I think that the costume design and so let's talk about Good Punk to 15 real quick. The costume design is like real lame. It's like let's get all
terrible.
the gray on gray with some black, but then mostly gray. Don't worry about the gray. There's gonna be more of it later.
Like Snow is the laziest. The one from was it 13?
13.
Where it's just like I wear a gray trench coat with a black do rag, and I was like, "That's your look."
Well, sometimes
That's
it
your
feels
look?
like they design the character based on, hey, what cool accessories would go well
Yes,
together?
it's
Like,
true.
let's get a guy like this, and then all of the other personality stuff seems like it comes later. Be like, oh, it'd be sweet if we got a guy who was like he punches things, but he's got a trench coat and like a do rag, but he's like a cool guy. And,
It's terrible.
It's quite an afterthought, and I feel like, you know what I thought when I first started watching it, the first trailer way back, I was like, is this kind of like how they made X-Men all gray? Like I feel like, is it more realistic because it's gray, or
Yeah.
I heard someone make an analogy that because they're all from the city, they all dress a certain way, and then when you see other characters who are not from the main city, they look less. The tones are more warm.
yeah,
Oh, you mean
that's kind of like Tokyo
this
too,
one,
you know.
15?
Yeah, 15, but I don't know. We haven't seen enough of the other characters like to know.
So, when I was looking into the character design, actually I have it on the notes. Tetsuya Nomura did the actual like face, but for clothing they had Hiromu Takahara from a Japanese fashion house called Rowan.
Rowan, maybe.
And it's inspired by what they would say Western clothing that's asymmetrical, but it's more like idol, like Japanese goth clothing. It looks like that to me.
It's kind of uniforms.
It's very
and
much
stuff,
like
a lot of
an idol band.
epaulettes and,
It's an idol band from like 5 years ago is the problem.
Yeah.
I find that a lot with the. I feel like when I watch like Japanese when I watch anime and like that's like this is what a popular person dresses like. I'm like this was like
Probably
it's like
4
they
years
it's like they googled it a lot when they were developing the character a long time ago. They never bothered updating it because you can
can
if
see
you just
when
have
it
like a general
happened,
sense of
Well, like the
style,
Sasuke thing we're talking
Yeah, the
about, you
Sasuke,
know?
yeah,
Like,
it's like hair of a certain age. Like for example, people used to have hair like
we
that
signed,
very
we signed
frequently.
off on the concept art long ago.
Yeah, people. I mean, when I lived in Japan in 2000 and these 2005 to 2008 ish, people kind of like people hosts kind of had that hair still. Normal people didn't too much unless they're like in a band or something and they were really trying. But like nowadays, like that kind of hairstyle with like the big. It's when I see people like that at like conventions, I'm like, oh, you like someone from 2008 because that's
Yeah.
kind of that's when that was happening.
Yeah.
Now people don't really have
Don't
that,
do that
unless
anymore,
unless they're like I'm trying to be visual K from that era. Or they're trying to be like
Yeah.
nostalgic
Yes.
with it. It's not like a current thing
Yeah.
that's happening.
It's a
starting to crush your
countercultural
dreams.
thing. It's
Like,
not what's popular.
All
Yeah.
of them look like they kind of rolled into what Hot Topic used to be and then just popped out, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I went into 2000s Hot Topic and came out the other side. That's what kind of they look like. When they say Western clothes, I'm like, they mean that kind of Western.
Yeah, it's weird, but here we go, Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
But
Here
I
we
mean, you could see they paid a lot of attention, and they do this with some of their other high-profile games as well, like Deus Ex and things like that, where they do tie-ins with brands.
Yes.
And so, like, you know, do you want a lot of attention seemed like it was paid to, like, the interiors of the cars or a lot of these other
Yeah,
things that are kind of
yeah.
like, because they're using...
They made the car. They made
Yeah.
that car.
Yeah.
It's you can't like buy it, but they made like a Kingsley version or whatever of that car.
Yeah.
As a promotional thing. It was
Because
crazy.
they really like doing that in the promotions of saying
Yeah.
like, hey, like all the stuff that they did with Lightning for with Louis
Louis
Vuitton and all that
Vuitton.
stuff. They like the idea, and this is true. We've
Yes.
talked about like how there's a certain sort of age of kind of people in Japan who are like trying to be cool and kind of reclaim their youth, and there's a certain amount of kind of conspicuous consumption that goes along
Yeah.
with it. Of just like, so yeah, stuff that you wouldn't expect, like luxury brand tie-ins. I'm sure
Lightning, yeah.
that they're gonna be plenty.
With Lightning, the person
Yeah.
that everyone wants to be like.
I want to be Lightning, but with a really cool clutch.
God, kill me. That was like the worst promotion I've ever seen in my life. Because they had those billboards here in America too. They were at like when I was in Vegas at the beginning of this year. They had a bunch of.
They had a bunch
her-
of like Times Square, I know.
Yeah, and I was like, stop it. No one thinks
We're gonna see more of that. I'm
Yeah, I
betting you
think
from
that's-
15.
Yeah, I think 15 is gonna have a lot of that.
It's gonna be like
tie-ins.
Sid working at the Amcos, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or just like Levi's will like sell like the booty shorts that we get.
Oh man. Oh man.
She's got that great look of where you just
I
like,
can
I want to
just
wear
see-
my short shorts, but they're gonna be almost falling off, and I'm gonna have my very high waisted thong.
Yeah, just
Coming out the sides of it.
bruise.
No.
Yeah.
All right. So rating time.
Out of 5, it's hard because like 1 was so weak to me,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, it's
sorry,
also not
episode
done
1.
yet, all of it,
Yeah,
so-
and then episode 2 and 3 were really great though. Like, 2 is my favorite. If I had to rate 2, I'd be like, that's like a 4-ish. You know, that's a 4-ish, which is pretty high. 5, you can't even give it a 5. It's 15 minutes long.
yeah.
But I think
gotta earn that
overall,
5.
I think overall, like I quite enjoyed myself. Like I was laughing out loud, which is kind of rare these days because I'm
You were
old.
eagerly anticipating both the game
Yeah.
and the rest of the series.
Maybe not
Yeah.
the game. Just I'm at the tipping point, but I feel like when episode 4 comes out, I'm gonna be like, hey guys, 4 came out. Let's watch it. Let's watch it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know I'm excited.
Alquin, rating?
I'm giving it a 3. I think it's better than I thought it was going to be, and it definitely has got me more interested in, you know, who these characters are and what their nuance are and that kind of stuff. But I don't know. There were a few things that just didn't really hold up for me, and I think some of the tropes are a little tired.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I thought the art quality was really good. The music, it all held up. I mean, it looks like
Hey, it's Square Enix money.
yeah, they got the Square Enix money. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I also will have to give it a 3. Episode 2, Prompto's episode, very, very good. I like that the best. Number 1 was real weak, and 3 for me, it's kind of, it wasn't bad, but it fell flat because it was just falling on those tropes. And I think Square Enix really needs to start moving away from that. Like, I know everybody loves Tetsuya and Mora, but please,
Well,
no more
yeah.
of these rehashes of your old characters.
Well, they seem to. I mean,
Can't wait till Lulu shows up, guys.
he got belts.
I need somebody with 20 belts.
Yeah, but that's
That's a
what?
conservative estimate of
It's like
Lulu's
a
belts.
three all around. So I feel like we all kind of agree.
Yeah, it's like an average.
Yeah.
It's an average.
But I think it's definitely worth continuing to watch as the episodes do come out, and it has made me
Yeah,
feel more
they're
fond
shorts. It's not a
towards
big
that
commitment.
game.
Yeah, it did change perceptions. I mean, all the comments on YouTube. Again, if YouTube says it in a positive way,
YouTube
that's
likes
crazy.
it.
Yeah, they're not tearing it apart.
Of like basically, you know, I can't believe that Noctis is not, you know, one dimensional, and it's really, let's see. he isn't a cutout cliche of anime/Japanese video game character Sasuke, Ichigo. He actually has feelings and offers a lot of emotion through their show.
Yeah, that's
YouTube.
just true. Yeah. So if you guys want to check that out, it's on Crunchyroll, airing every week for the next 3 weeks.
YouTube.
Is
No,
it?
I don't
Is it
think it's every
finishing up?
week, dude. I
It's
think
not?
it's just like whenever Square Enix is finished.
Square Enix, like,
Whenever
okay.
they finish another
Honestly,
Never mind then.
Yeah. So Crunchyroll and then the official YouTube is the places to
Yes.
find it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all for us this week. Next week, we're going to be back with Jonathan and probably Max
Yeah.
with the Animatrix.
Animatrix. Remember that shit? Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
it's a classic.
Thanks a lot, guys.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.